The days when I could use my mum said no as an excuse. Yo, mum, can I see Tara?
No.
Alright, it still happens, but if you're anything like me, you've probably regretted saying yes far too many times to something which you definitely did not want to do. You ask yourself, sacrificing your sleep, skipping meals, and cancelling plans with friends, was it all really worth it just to please someone else? After working 12 hours a day in my corporate job, I can tell you it is most definitely not, and I have learned the hard way of how important it is to say no. So today, I want to share back my technique and go through a few tips to make sure that you don't come across like a jerk when you say no. Whether if it's your boss asking you for capacity, or a friend just asking to hang out. Saying no is really awkward and uncomfortable because deep down it's really stupid, but I want to be liked by everyone, I want to be friends with everyone, I want my hard work to be valued, and I get major FOMO. The human instinct to be part of a group is incredibly powerful. As Professor Steve Peters mentions in his book, The Chimp Paradox, the need to belong to a group is so powerful that we often compromise our lives and lifestyle to remain as part of the group. And to say no, we are deliberately separating ourselves from the crowd, and we are saying no to that feeling of being emotionally high. But at any time I get into this thinking, this spiral, I remind myself that saying yes to someone means I am saying no to myself. From my personal experience, I've realized there comes a critical point where recognition stagnates, and that's because you've upped people's expectations, and that feeling of being overwhelmed and burnt out, it increases exponentially. And over the years, I have learned that you shouldn't just say no or you don't have time, because you end up burning your relationships. So over the last year, I've been trying different ways of how to say no, and I've been finding this technique working really well for me to gently say no to people. First, I show empathy with that person I'm saying no to show that I understand the situation or appreciate them reaching out to me. I can see why that's really frustrating, or I'm very flattered that you reached out to me. Secondly, I tell them it's not possible and why, but briefly, one sentence is more than enough. You don't need to over-explain. It's unnecessary. For example, unfortunately, I'm unable to take it on. I have a pretty busy week where I'm at capacity on 3 projects. Thirdly, the key to crafting a gentle no response is to propose something else. It could be linking them to a helpful blog post, it could be directing them to someone else, or telling them that you have time next week. But you need to make sure that this alternative option is less hassle, takes less time, and it's just easy to do and less time consuming. Additionally, there are 2 things which I do to ensure I am successful when I say no. My top trick is to put the question back on the other person, especially in work situations. Let's say your boss has asked you to do far much more than you can handle. I like to use the sentence, I'm happy to do XYZ, but I need 2 weeks instead of 1 week to do a good job. If you need me to complete it into 1 week, what tasks do you want me to deprioritize? And you're forcing that question back on them and forcing them to give you a response. And the second thing which has worked really well for me is that I don't like to make an impulse decision. I do not succumb to them. And if I need more time, I simply ask for it, because we always end up regretting those impulse decisions the most. So simply, thank you for reaching out for me. That was really interesting to hear about the opportunity. Do you mind if I let you know in a few more days? This gives you time to actually think, how is that decision going to impact you, and make sure that you've got time to actually shift things around and where it sits on your priority list. But make sure that you do not keep your friends or your colleagues hanging for days. It's really unprofessional. Say it as fast as possible. Learn to say no so you can say yes at the right time. And that is it. I think I'm going to leave you there. If you liked this content, please do not forget to hit the like button so I can battle against the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.